So now I want to transition into the main part of our call and webinar today. And EDA has asked Lillian Barnes with the Department of Commerce National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration to present information for Grants Online. I hope you guys will find that this call is informative. You guys asked for this specific training, and we wanted to go through several different action items with regard to how to manage and take actions in Grants Online. And I want to provide an introduction to Lillian. So for Lillian's role as the Grants Online Program Management Office Operations Manager and Grants Online Team Leader, she oversees the day-to-day operations of the Grants Online system, the operations and maintenance, the development, and the help desk, and serves as the task monitor for the operations and maintenance contract. She resolves and provides guidance in resolving escalating help desk tickets requiring database coding or report generations. She facilitates the Grants Online's Change Control Board, and she serves as the system engineer on all projects. She's also a subject matter expert on various committees and working groups. She develops training curriculum and materials and conducting in-person classes, webinars, and workshops for all Grants Online user groups, both on the federal side and the grants management side, the finance office, and grant recipients. Some of you may have heard her during EDA's most recent Denver conference that we held in August of 2019, as she conducted training during that time. So I want to hand it over to Lillian, and Lillian, we appreciate you being on the call today.
Thank you very much, Jodi. I have never had an introduction quite like that. So I'm going to need you to send that to me so that I can use it for some other presentations. I did not know.
I didn't ask you for your bio. I didn't ask you for your bio, Lillian. I did it up myself. So
I was going to say, I have never submitted anything to anyone that has all of that. So thank you, Jodi. I'm afraid you have set the expectations of your grantees a bit too high, but I will do my best to live up to what you have presented to them. So welcome, everyone. It looks like we have 22 grantees on, Jodi. So I think we've got most of those that have that responded to the webinar invite on. So we can go ahead and get started. And Jodi, this is going to be, a tag team between the two of us. So we'll be doing this together. Can everyone see my screen right now? It should say, welcome to the EDA Denver Tribal Quarterly Call.
Yes.
With the Grants Online logo.
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me see if I can figure out how do I move to there we go, the next slide. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to start by accepting an amendment that I have, and just so you know, right now we are going to be doing this demo in our training environment. Our training environment is actually a copy of our production environment in Grants Online that we made back in about the October timeframe. So the data that you'll see, some of it may look like real data, and it is sort of real data as of the October timeframe, but we have copied it into our training environment. And so we're able to now use some of the real awards to do demos with. And so we're going to utilize one of those awards for this particular demo. Okay, we're also going to go through the process of requesting your ASAP drawdown, going through that award action request steps. We're going to go through submitting both a financial report and a progress report. And then Jodi's going to help me with number 5, which is submitting the Gpra report. Okay, So that's what we're going to try to accomplish today. And Jodi, keep me on task as we're going through. We are open to questions. Please put your questions into the chat box. Jodi, can you see when questions come in?
Yes.
So you know how to do it. Okay. So yeah, there's a little section that says questions, and then you can open that up and you can see when people put questions into the chat box. Okay. If there's something, what I'm going to need you to do, Jodi, if a question comes in that I need to respond, because I'm not going to be monitoring the chat box, I'll need for you to let me know when I need to address a question. Okay? All right. So let's see. Let me go over here and go to our next page. Oh, we have a few more items on our agenda. Submitting your CEDS. We're going to go over the quick reference guide that shows the roles in Grants Online. We're going to show you the grants file page so that you can see the accounting details. Also, how you can see who are the people in your organization that have access to the grants file in Grants Online. And then number 10, how you can add the authorized representative, add someone to your organization as another authorized representative. Okay. All right. So let's start off. And this is a question. We will come to that question in a few minutes. We want to start off now. Let me flip over to Grants Online. And let's see, that's our webinar. Here we go. So here's Grants Online. I'm going to log off here because we need to log in as the chairman so that we can indeed access this award and accept it on behalf of that particular person. So I need to cheat for just a minute, go over to my little notes so I can pick up the person that we're using right here. I'm going to copy this.
So Lillian, while you're doing that, when the amendment is awarded, it goes to the authorized representative that's assigned in Grants Online. But does the amendment go to all of the individuals that are authorized representative, or just the primary?
It goes to all of them. Let me just make sure that I'm logging in with the right information here.
So everybody on the call, when a grant is awarded by EDA, anybody that has the role of authorized representative, the award goes to their task box, and the first person that goes into Grants Online as the authorized representative basically gets that task placed in their task box, and it gets taken away from the other people that have that task. So it needs to be.
That's correct.
It needs to be.
Go ahead.
The chairman then needs to go in to Grants Online to review the amendment and to accept it. And that's what Lillian's going to show us right now.
Right. So I just logged in. Let me go back to the main page. When I logged in, this is the landing page. After I log into Grants Online, you will come up to your advisories page, and then you will have to click on the task right here so that you can see a task in your inbox. Now, what should have happened is there should have been an email that went out to all of the authorized representatives letting them know that there is indeed a task in the inbox of Grants Online for them to accept the amendment. So here the task is right here. I'm going to click on the view, and as I see, there is a task for the authorized representative. The task has not yet been started, so just clicking on view does not actually start, it does not indicate to the system that you have started this task. You actually have to take an action from the drop-down box. But before I do that, I want to go down here to workflow history, to this link, okay? And in this link, all we see is that the grants officer has sent the task for approving it it has approved the amendment and has sent the task to the authorized representative. This also tells me that there are no other authorized representatives on this particular award. So only one person has it. Let's just now go ahead and go through the actions to accept the award. Notice that there are no options right now to accept the award. And that is because we want you first to view the details of the amendment. The system will force you to click this first option to view the amendment details before you have an option to accept the award. So we're going to take a look at the amendment details. I'm going to scroll down on this particular amendment. We can see the basic information about the amendment at the top. You see the start and end dates on the amendment itself. It brings over the title and description from the original award. Here's the funding that is being added on this amendment. Here's the reason for the amendments. Right now, it pops up this little box, and here's our test amendment for acceptance. And if you actually want to see what this looks like, if you needed to print off a record, a PDF file for your own records, you can click on this link. Now, let me see if this link is working, because I found out that we had an issue in production, and let me see if this issue is also in. No, it's working here. All right, so here is our what we call a CD 451. It's basically your award document when the award is actually an amendment to an initial application. So here is your amendment award document. It shows you the amount you previously had before you got this amendment. Here's the amount that's being added, nothing deducted. In this particular case, there is no cost share or matching amount, so those are all zeroed out. And so now your current grant award has now risen to the amount of $242,250. That is the amount that has been obligated to this particular grantee organization and available for drawdown in ASAP. Whatever is put in the reasons for amendment screen will show up right here under reasons for amendment. And if there's anything else, special award conditions or anything like that, the special award conditions for EDA will be a separate attachment. And if there's anything that they typed in on the other line, it will show up here. Notice the grants officer name and date is on here, but not the authorized representative. And that is because when we generated this report, we have not yet accepted the amendment. So let's go ahead, close this out. We're going to now, notice there's no save on here, only a cancel. That means there's nothing that you can do as a recipient to change this document. You can just look at it. We're going to cancel off of the screen. And it should take us back to our drop down. And let's look at our options now. Our options now allow us to either accept or decline the amendment. Okay. You can also reassign this amendment to another authorized representative in your organization if somebody else needs to review it or accept it. So you do have the opportunity to move it amongst other users within your own organization for review and acceptance. The decline amendment should only be used if you really do not want to accept the funds that were a part of this particular amendment, or if it's a no-cost amendment, if there's some other reason. I strongly urge you, before you select this option to decline an amendment, to contact your project officer and talk with them first. Make sure that you have communicated with them first if you think that you need to decline an amendment, because that is an end of the line in the workflow. Once you decline the amendment, then the only way to undo it in most cases would be for a whole new action to be processed for you. Because remember, these records have now gone into other systems. They've gone into our financial system. They're on their way to usaspending.gov, the federal-wide system. And so if the amendment is declined, the records have to be pulled out of all of those systems. And if you need to have another action, it would have to be done again from scratch. There is an option here, return to the grants officer for revisions. Again, that option can only be used for making changes to specific award conditions. We cannot change money and we cannot change dates at this point in time because the record has gone into so many other systems set up for, including ASAP, for you to draw down your funds. Jodi, is there any comments you'd like to say before we go through the acceptance process?
No, let's accept it and then we can move on to requesting a disbursement.
All right, so we're going to accept the amendment, submit. And it's going through the acceptance. There's a pop-up. Are you sure? Of course I am. Okay. And it has been accepted. What I'm going to do now it's no longer in my inbox. When I accept it, it went away. But I want to look at it again after I accepted it. The easy way to do that is to go up to the top of the screen to the top of the white part, you see these little black links. We call those breadcrumbs. And here's the action I just did. Notice the status is now changed to accepted. If I scroll down on here, I have all of this information. Here's my amendment record. And no longer do I have a blue drop-down box, but I can still go back to that same page and look at the data. And now if I want to generate the report, it will have the authorized representative's name and date on it at the bottom. So you see, now that it's been accepted, the system also adds the authorized representative name and date. All right, so we now have an accepted amendment. Let's take a look at our grants file that goes along with this particular award and see what it looks like now. So I'm going to scroll down on this page. There's a couple of ways to get to the grants file. Since I'm on the amendment, I can scroll down to the bottom to the award file, and then I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go backwards to my grants file. That's one way to get to the grants file if I'm already on the amendment. The other way would be to just go to my awards tab, click on search awards. I don't even have to put the award number in. I'm just going to click on search. And here's my award. In most cases, most of the organizations on the call only have 1 or 2 awards, so you don't have to put any kind of search criteria. Just click the search button and your award will come up. And then if we click on the award number, it takes us back to our grants file. All right. Jodi, remind me when we need to ask any questions as we're going through.
Yeah,
okay?
let's go through all of the items, the task first, and then we can open it up to questions. So we've got a number of things on our agenda that we need to get through, and the call is about half over at this point.
Okay, all right. So we will move quickly then through the agenda, and then we will save time at the end for our questions, both questions for you to us and questions from us to you. So as you see here, this award file 4 that we just went through, we now have an accepted award file 4, and you can see the history of this particular grant in terms of amendments. These are award drawdown requests that we've already done. They've all been approved, but we want some more money now that we've gotten some. So let's go through that process. I am still logged in as the authorized representative. So I'm going to create an award action request and submit. I'm starting from my grants file. And just as an FYI, everything that I am doing is available from the Grantee Resources. So before I move forward, I do want to show you how do you get to those Grantee Resources. If you are in the system, you can always click on this Help tab, which takes you to another pop-up box, and then scroll down a little bit. Click here to access the Grants Online training page. It'll go to this screen right here. And just as an FYI, this particular website will be is in the process of being updated. We're going to be going to a new website within the next 30 days or so. But for now, this is the one you will go to. Here are our grant recipient training resources. And here are our user manuals right here. So you have your recipient user manual right here. Here's a quick reference guide. So it kind of takes all the detailed information in the recipient user manual and it puts it into a smaller guide right here. But these are your reference guides. Yes, go ahead, Jodi.
I also attached the quick reference guide and the recipient administrator's task reference guide to the Outlook invite for this call, and I'll attach it also to the meeting minutes just so that people have those reference guides, but this is where they're located on the Help tab. And number 5, the recipient administrator's reference guide, that is also one that I frequently refer people to, as well as number 7, award action request guidance.
Right, so this is what I'm going through right now. And I just wanted to, again, as Jodi said, you have in your email, you have, and attached to this, you have all of these guidance documents, but if for some reason you lost your email or you're someplace else where you can't get to it, they are on our website. So let's go on back to Grants Online in the interest of time and keep moving forward. We are now on the screen that you have your options for your award action request. Here is our ASAP drawdown request. I'm going to click on this, but I am also going to this is very important for you to see the process map, what we call a process map that goes with what we're going through. So I'm going to click on that right here, this process map. I want to go directly to AAR-5, which is our ASAP drawdown request, because this is what we're doing right now. This is our process map that we are going through, and we are starting right here. We searched on the awards, we clicked on create ASAP drawdown requests, or we also clicked on create the award action request. Okay, so we're going to create it now, and then it's going to go to the authorized representative, but since we are the authorized representative, we're okay, we can skip that. Then we're going to forward it to the agency. What I really want to make sure you understand is after you forward to the agency, you need to do this first before you get into asap.gov. You must do the steps I'm doing now first. Once you've done that, you have to wait for EDA to process your request and accept it. Only then should you get into ASAP to put the request in ASAP. So you do need to do the Grants Online piece first, wait for the acceptance, and then go into ASAP. So let's go through our Grants Online steps.
And for that, just so everybody knows, typically EDA approves the request within the same business day. So typically grantees can go into GOL first, make the request, and the same day they can go into ASAP to also make the drawdown request. The only thing that I can bring up here is that the request that you make in ASAP only stays active for 5 days and then it gets rejected. So if the GOL request doesn't get approved by EDA within 5 days, then you'll possibly have to go back into ASAP to make another request for that payment.
Okay. Also, just so you know, the ASAP authorizers at the NOAA Finance Office, who are the ones that authorize, that clear your payment for you to get it, they have requested that we add an option for them to actually return this request back to you if you send forward the Grants Online request but never get into ASAP to do the ASAP part. They're going to start returning these back to you. Okay? So let me go ahead and
while you're filling out the request real quickly, or I don't even think we need to fill out the request, just as long as we can show them how it's actually submitted. At this point, if you've got a finance officer that's creating the ASAP, the drawdown request in GOL, and the finance officer is not identified in Grants Online as the authorized representative, then the finance person will have to submit it to the authorized representative, and then the authorized representative will have to forward it to EDA. And in some cases, that's what's taking a little bit of time, because the finance office is submitting it to the authorized representative, and then we're having to wait for the chairman to go in and forward it to the agency. So just so that you know, if the finance officer is not identified as authorized representative, they will not be able to submit the ASAP drawdown request directly to EDA. They'll have to submit it to the chair, and then the chair will have to submit it, or someone on behalf of the chair.
And we will show you how to make that finance officer, give them the ability to submit directly a little bit later on in the presentation. I know the time is going by, so we're going to go as fast as we can. But I've just created, a quick request here, put test in the justification. You are, Jodi, you are also requiring an attached SF-270?
No, not on these quarterly requests.
Okay, so for this particular program, you do not have to worry about attaching an SF-270. You just need to fill this out, click the Save button. For other programs where an attachment is needed, they cannot attach it until they first click the Save button, and then they're able to add their attachment. Your program does not have to add anything else. You can just click Save and Start Workflow. And as Jodi said, if you are actually logged in as the financial person without an option to submit, your option will say forward to authorized representative. Because I'm logged in as an authorized representative right now, I can forward it to the agency. Okay. So I have now forwarded this request to the agency. If I click back on my breadcrumbs to the grants file, I can look on my grants file, and I will see at the request that is with the grant specialist, which is also your project officer. So whenever you see in Grants Online anything that says program officer or grant specialist, either one of those are both referring to the same person. For you, that would be your project officer. So now it is sitting in with them in their inbox. If we flip back over here, it is sitting right here for them to go through their review and accept it. Okay, we're not going to do that in the interest of time, but hopefully that helps you to understand that process there. Okay, Jodi, what's the next thing on our agenda?
The next thing is showing a financial report and where they can find the financial report. And we don't have to submit it, but there's a placeholder in Grants Online for the financial reports.
Absolutely. We're right here on our grants file. This is where you're going to find your financial report. There's actually two different ways to find your financial reports. So let me just show you. First of all, if you don't have a task in your inbox and you just log into Grants Online and you want to find the financial reports, again, if you click on Search Awards and just click Search, your award number, and you just scroll down on your grants file. And as you're scrolling down, you're going to get to this section that says financial reports. These are what we call placeholders. The system will generate these placeholders after the period end date that has been designated for a particular award. We do know that some of the periods, end dates are not exactly what they need to be. Jodi, I don't know about for the tribes. Are these some that are having issue with the end dates and due dates?
Some of them on the call are, yes.
Okay, but for the financial reports, it's okay, right? It's the progress reports we're having issues with. Okay, All right, so right now for the financial reports, it should be okay. And you should, at the end of each reporting period, the system will generate one of these placeholders right here. So in this case, in our training system, we had a period ending of 9/30 last year. And so that particular report was due on October the 30th. I just regenerated. This was actually submitted on time by the recipient, but what I did was I pulled it off and regenerated it so that we can hit it. And notice, because I regenerated it, it is now set as delinquent because it's past our due date. So the status will change based on whatever the due date is in the system. In order to submit it, of course, you just come to this placeholder, you click on the ID number, and it opens up this page here, which you need to click one more time to get to the form itself. And then on this form, here's on the screen, it's just a form of the SF 425, and you would fill out all of the data fields that are appropriate for your organization, and then start the workflow. Now, the other way, I think that'll be the, I'm not going to confuse you by showing you another way. That's the easiest way. So we'll stick with that way of finding your placeholders. Let's go back to the grants file. And I do want to show you there is also a placeholder for the progress report right here. So we've got one for the progress report. Very similar process. You come to the grants file, you find the progress report that still needs to be submitted. You click on the ID number, and you click on this link that says go to the details page. Now for progress reports, there is no form. The only thing that the system wants you to do is to upload an attachment. So whatever attachment that your program office, that Jodi's office has told you to do, however they have guided you in terms of creating your progress report, put that together on your own desktop or laptop, and then just come in here and upload the attachment. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. I'm going to choose a file. I am go to my documents folder. I'm going to type in my test, TEST, get me a test attachment here. And here's my progress report. I'm going to save this attachment. And once it's saved, you're going to see a record right here at the top of the screen that shows you that you have uploaded an attachment. Upload as many attachments as you need. Come on down here. If you need to put some comments in, this is just comments for EDA. These comments do not show up in the workflow. So these are just comments that would be on the screen. They're not required. And then come on down here and click Save and Start Workflow. And this will give you an option. It does not immediately go to the next person. It comes back to this screen, and you have to now forward to the agency. If you want to include some comments in the email that goes to EDA, this is where you will put those comments, where it says your comments here. So these are comments that show up on the email to EDA, okay? So whenever you click submit here, an email will go to EDA, to the project officer, letting them know a task has come into their inbox for that progress report, and that email will also contain any comments that you just put into that blue box.
So the main two things.
So let's look back at our.
The main two things.
Go ahead, Jodi.
The main two things to keep in mind. We just did a request for funds, and we did a financial report submittal and a progress report submittal. And just keep in mind that until you do the drop down forward to agency, the task has still not been submitted to EDA. So just keep in mind that it's in your task box. It's on your side of the aisle until after you forward to agency.
Yep. And so remember, even for the financial report, even though we looked at it, we didn't do any workflow. So it's still sitting there with delinquent on it. We haven't taken any real action, no task. We haven't even created a task because we haven't filled in the form. Okay, what's the next thing, Jodi?
So the next two things are very similar. They're submitting a GPRA report by creating an award action request that's called Satisfy Specific Conditions, and the other one is submitting the 5-year CEDS by creating an award action request called Other. So if you can show them, Lillian, how you'd essentially create that award action request, and there's two different types of requests in the index that they can select to upload these reports.
All right, so here's the one for satisfy specific conditions. I'm going to assume that that was created because I forgot to check, but let's just see. So in here, we should have a list of various SACs. And so here's the GPRA for 2020. This is the one we're going to say that we're satisfying, we're uploading it. And it immediately brings in the information that's on that specific award condition. You can now say, please see attached, or anything else, Jodi. I don't know exactly what they would put in here.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
That's fine. Okay.
On this section, when they do the SAC name drop down, it pre-populates the SAC description and the due date. So if the correct due date has not been pre-populated, then you can automatically understand that you may have selected an incorrect SAC name. So you'll need to make sure when you pre-populate your SAC name or choose the SAC name that you're choosing the correct one, and the most recent due date should be showing up on the inside the GOL page.
And if I click, I'm going to change the due date. I'm in the one I'm selecting. I'm going to change to 2019 and then click save. And let's see now. Here's the 2019 one. And if you see, as Jodi said, the due date changed to correspond with the one that I selected. Okay. At this point, I need to add an attachment, but I cannot add it until I first click the save button. After I click the save button, then I have my link at the top so that I can add my attachment. And it works again, same way. Test is my attachment right here. And save attachment. And here it is. So you will upload your GPRA document right there and say to start workflow. This creates a task for you to now forward to the agency. Here's your drop down. Forward to agency. Now, whoever initiates this action, this must go through to your chairman to be forwarded to the agency. Unlike the progress report and financial report where other people can be set up to submit directly for award action requests, they must all go from the chairman. You want to do one more, Jodi? You want to do the other?
If you could show them one more time where the award action request, creating it, and now as if they would be submitting their 5-year CEDS, it would be creating an award action request called Other instead of Satisfy Specific Conditions. The Satisfy Specific Conditions is for the GPRA report. The Other is for their 5-year CEDS. So they only are going to do this like once every 5 years, essentially.
Wow. Okay. So when it's time to do that, you may forget. So please contact our help desk. We will help you. Jodi will help you. But on this one right here, there's no drop down like there is for the satisfy special conditions. It is up to you to type in what this is. And whatever your justification is, see attached. Okay, again, there is no attachment until you hit your save button. So you click your save, and the system will then create that attachment widget at the top, and you can then upload your attachment right here. Okay, All right, so I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to go through that part. I'm just going to cancel off of this screen, which means that I have created the record, but I have not done anything with it yet. And if you will see that on your grants file that it's still sitting with you as the recipient. Let's go to the grants file. And if we look here, here is our other. There's no workflow on here, no status. That's because we just created it today. Here's today's date, but we didn't start any action on it. So it'll be sitting here. If you started it, you went away and you want to come back and finish working on it, you just come back to the grants file, find the one that you were working on, click on the number, and it'll take you back to where you can complete working.
And the other way that they can find that is that would be in their task box as well, correct, Lillian?
Not yet, because at this point, if I click on this, I didn't start. I didn't say save and start workflow. So if I just started it, but I didn't start save and start workflow, if I did this much and I cancel, if I cancel, it will not put anything in your task box. So that's a very good question, Jodi, and I'm glad you brought that up. If I got this far and I canceled off and I did not start any workflow, it will not put a task. If I want a task in my inbox, which I can do, and let it sit there, I would click Save and Start Workflow, okay? And at this point, let's look at our task. Here it is. So it is in my task box now. Let's go back to the grants file, and let's take a look now. On the grants file, let's look down at our other. You see the other, and it says recipient authorized actions not started. So this lets me know there is a task. It's in my inbox. But if you see an item here with nothing in this column here, in your status column, that means that you have not even created a task in your inbox. You created a record, but no task.
It just means that they haven't saved and started workflow.
Correct, correct. So there's a record out there, but you haven't saved and started workflow. You saved it, but you didn't start the workflow.
Okay. Then the next thing on the agenda, Lillian, the next thing was taking a quick look at the quick reference guide on page 10 that shows the recipient roles in GOL. If we could take a quick look at that, and then we're going to go on to accounting details and related personnel.
All right, so here's our quick reference guide, and you said page 10 down at the bottom, the last page of the quick reference guide, which is this one right here.
Yes.
That shows the various roles that you can have. Notice the special submitting roles right here. And if we have time before it's over, we'll show you how to set those up. But this chart tells you what each one of these roles allows a user to do within the Grants Online system. So just about everybody can view either all awards or awards specifically assigned. The authorized representative can do everything except for one thing, and that is administer the users. However, if the authorized representative is also the recipient administrator, then that person can do everything. Okay?
So the business and finance representatives can submit the financials directly to the agency, but if it's a program person or a project director or planner, if they do not have the recipient authorized representative role, then anytime they submit a GPRA report or a request for funds, then that has to go through the authorized representative.
Right. Again, I do want to point out, you can set up your finance person and your principal investigator with those special resubmitting role. Notice here, if you have that role for the business person, they can submit directly to the agency. They can submit those financial reports. Only the financial reports can they submit directly to the agency. Over here, only the progress report can they submit directly to the agency if they have this special submitting role. Otherwise, they must go through the authorized representative to submit to the agency. Or, like Jodi said, if this person has also the authorized representative role, then that role takes over and allows them to submit. All right, Jodi, what's the next thing?
So can you show them in Grants Online then where they can see the roles under the accounting details and award-related personnel screen on the grants file page on the drop-down menu?
All right, so again, I'm back in Grants Online. I'm on my grants file page. In my drop-down menu, I have this item that says View Accounting Details. This allows me to see the actions that I have already submitted for my ASAP drawdown request. So these are all of the ASAP drawdown requests that I have already submitted to date. These are the ones that have been processed, that have gone through our accounting system, and hopefully at this point you would have received the funds. This allows you to see what we have in our accounting system related to your ASAP drawdowns. Okay. Great. And then the others, anything else on that, Jodi?
No, I just wanted them to see that they had that available to them when they do their financial reports. They could quickly look at View Accounting Details to see how much money they previously received, and any program people can also look under that View Accounting Details to see if you guys are behind on any disbursement requests and haven't been receiving any of the current quarterly disbursements.
Correct. And then the other function that you wanted them to see is, how do we see who in my organization has access to this award in Grants Online? That's that bottom option there, View Accounting Related Personnel. So at this point, our authorized representative right here is Orville Landau. As I'm going down on the screen, my principal investigators, I have 2 of them that are set up on this award. If the person that's looking at this has an administrative role, they can make changes. Here are my business financial people. This person is set up to be able to look at grants. Actually, they don't need this role because they have the business financial role and the PI role, but this person, this particular role is for you to give someone access to Grants Online that doesn't need to be a PI or financial person or an authorized rep, but they still need to look in the Grants Online and see the grant. This is the additional key personnel role. Okay, and here's the administrator. This person is able to set up other users for your organization and to reset passwords and unlock accounts. That person can do all of that. So let me just look real quick. Yes.
Lillian, the next thing on the agenda was for you to show how, as a recipient administrator, the recipient administrator, and in your case, you're signed on as the chairman, can add someone else as a authorized representative.
Yes, this person is the chairman, but also the chairman is the administrator for this particular organization. So you see that person has 2 roles. So you want me to show how to administer user accounts?
What I'd like you to do is, just as the recipient administrator and the authorized representative that you're signed on as, if you could show how the recipient administrator can then add someone else as a authorized representative.
Got you. Very good. All right. So as the administrator, I'm going to have my administrator hat on now. I'm going to go to my awards tab. And from my awards tab, I will have a feature on the left-hand side to manage recipient users. All right. So here are the current users that I have in my organization. And then I have an option here to add another user. So I can just use this option right here. I can put in a new user. All right, Joe Smith. Okay. And this person is going to be an authorized, you said authorized representative. Okay, so this is where I give them their role. And I need to put in only these 2 pieces of information are what the system requires. You can add whatever else you want. I'm just going to put in our test email account that we use in training. and just put in a fake phone number that's no longer in use. Some people might recognize what that is. I'm going to click Save. Notice I did not put anything in for the user meeting. I'm sorry, for the account. I have other a couple of other meetings coming up, but notice the system has now created the user account. Okay, so you can tell the person this is their login, and then you can just click reset password. It will give them a temporary password, and you will give them that for their password, and they now have the ability to log in as an authorized representative. Okay, now also if I go back to manage recipient users, if I want to make one of my PIs into a submitting PI, let's pick up this person right here. I'm going to click on this link that says Manage Award Access. And I want to show you right here. On this screen, it just shows I'm a PI. I want to switch him to be a submitting PI. I would just click on this radio button instead. Now this allows him to submit his progress reports directly to EDA without having to go through the chairman. I'll click Assign, and now this is successful, and it's been modified. So now this person can submit progress reports directly to the chairman. The same thing can be done for financial reports. If he was a financial person, change the radio button right here. A financial person with the authority to submit, click Assign, and now that person can submit financial reports directly to the agency without going through the chairman. All right, Jodi, I'm sorry, it's 1 o'clock.
So we're just out of time right now. Do we have a few more minutes to do a quick couple of questions, polls?
Sure, we'll take a couple. Do you want me to put some polls up?
Yes. If you could,
okay.
based on what we went over today, can you put up a few questions to see if people can answer the questions correctly based on the information that you provided to us today?
So, Jodi, I must have lied to you because I don't see my polls here. I must not have set them up like I thought I had. But what we can do though, we can flip over to let's flip over here to our questions right here. We could just show them right here. We won't be able to, oh no, I don't want to do that, cancel.
Yeah, those were the questions.
Okay, so unfortunately I didn't set them up as poll, but we can ask the questions right now. And we're going to ask you to put them in the chat box. Please type into the chat box your answer to this question number 1. What happens when the planner gets locked out of grants on law? Who should they contact if they get locked out? And Jodi, I'll let you provide the answers. Give them a few minutes to put something into the chat. Do we get anything? Are we getting anything into our chat box?
No, not yet. But the answer to that question is they should contact the Recipient Administrator in Grants Online for the tribe.
Right. So yeah, a few coming in, but that's right. The Recipient Administrator for the tribe. That is the first contact you should make. If for some reason you cannot get through to your person, you can contact the help desk as a backup, but your first point of contact should be your own Recipient Administrator. All right, let's go to the next question.
Okay.
All right, here's the next question right here. What happens if you're the Recipient Administrator and you got locked out of Grants Online? Who do you contact? Okay, here are your answers here.
This one's an easy one. This one's an easy one.
Yeah.
It's
pretty easy.
A GOL help desk via call or email.
Very good. Yep. We don't have a website that you can go into, so the way you contact us now is via a phone call or via email. All right, here's the next question. If an action, a financial report, a progress report, or Gpra report, if anything is sent back to you for revisions in Grants Online, how does the director or planner get that action to make corrections? How do you make them? How do you get that action if it's sent back to you? So please, if you can, just type in the letter or go ahead and type in the answer in your chat box. And then Jodi, when you're ready, go ahead and give them the answer.
The answer to this one is item C. No, sorry, item B as in boy. You go to your GOL task box to find that action.
Absolutely, because if it gets sent back to you through the workflow in Grants Online, it will be sitting in your task box and you will get an email to let you know it's there. All right, let's go to this last question right here. How do I see past award action requests, financial reports, and progress reports? We did show that to you during the course of this webinar. So how do you see past ones? You don't have a task in your inbox. How do I see them?
The answer is item C. You navigate to the grants file page like Lillian showed us, and you scroll down to associated documents, and you'll be able to see the financial reports and past progress reports.
All right, Jodi, those are all the questions that you had. We can open it up for 1 or 2 minutes. If there are any other questions that we'll ask you to type them into your chat box, or let's see. Let me see.
Anyone have any other questions? This webinar is going to be recorded. I will send that out to you guys after it's over so that you can have reference to it, or it can be referred to by someone else that wasn't able to attend the webinar and call today.
Okay. Well, at this point, we'll
question,
go ahead.
Lillian. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. Thanks, Lillian, for presenting the information to us today. I hope that you guys found that this was helpful to you based on everything that we went over. It was some of the simple things, but some things that were really important and something that you guys do occasionally in Grants Online. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Jodi. We're going to go ahead and end the webinar now. And Jodi, I will be in contact with you regarding the recording, okay?
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.